So when, I came up with the theme Beautiful India, I then thought about sort of various things that depict beautiful India. So wedding cake, we think of a beautiful sari. All right, so basically your wedding cake is inspired by a sari. This could be from the color palette. All right, so it might be, let's say, like, burgundy and gold. It could be like a peacock blue color with silver accents, but it could just be the palette. It could be pattern, so you could take a design element from the sari and then use that, for example, for brush embroidery, for pipe lace, for, as I said, anything could be used. You could do some geometric pattern. I mean, you can just pick up on some detail. Design and embroidery and lace. So obviously, there are many things we could pull from a sari from a perspective of color, of texture. Obviously, some saris have are made with different fabrics, so you have texture, you have obviously heavy embroidered areas of a sari, often around the bodice area, so you could obviously pick out one of those inspirations. You must include a photograph, okay? So you need to print off a photograph that be presented beside your wedding cake in a frame. So this could be just in a small acrylic frame, but basically we prefer something just standing up. This also means that people visiting the show, guests, can actually then sort of see your wedding cake, see your sari. So it's almost a bit like it's your storyboard, it's your inspiration. So just, like a small photograph, a 5x7, 6x8, whatever size, and then just put that in an acrylic frame or a wooden frame, a gold frame, whatever you prefer, but just have that standing beside your wedding cake, all right? It's really important that, remember that you don't have any business cards, your name on the photograph, or anything that it obviously depicts who you are, okay? Because this is, again, it should be a blind competition. We are not meant to know as judges who is obviously the competitor is. The cake can be any shape and design, obviously covered with sugar paste, with royal icing, with buttercream. You can obviously use whatever medium you prefer to be more comfortable with. Cake may consist of a single or multiple tiers, and it may also be of a novelty design, okay? So you could actually sort of take it into more of a novelty style cake. Dummies may be used, but they should reflect what is possible. In competitions, when you're allowed to use a dummy, which is permissible in most of these categories, it should be something that is possible to recreate in real cake, all right? So really, as a judge, we are looking at it, and with my team of judges, we're looking at it as a real cake, all right? And then if entering a novelty style cake, the cake should be carved and shaped by the competitor, and 6 processed photographs. Now that's really important, the processed photographs, because we've had situations at cake shows where somebody doesn't give us processed photographs of a novelty style cake. Now remember, a novelty is not necessarily like sculpted in the respect of making a tiger. A novelty cake is generally something that is more novelty. It could be sort of something that has a little bit of carving, it could be like a sort of a mushroom, something like that, but it's not typically like a sculpted cake. So when we think of novelty cake, we're generally thinking of something with figures on it, or something that, so you could show, like, for example, like a Bollywood wedding, and you could have little figures and things, and then maybe you might sort of have sort of one of the cakes or dummies could be carved. But you do need to have, as I said, processed photographs. Decorative work may include any edible medium, all right? So you can use cake lace, you can use isomalt, you can use wafer paper. That's really where we want to see you be innovative in what you come up with as far as mediums you use. And competitors may model decorations by hand as sugar, buds, flowers, foliage, twigs, fruits, berries, nuts, fungi, animals, birds, fish, people, and figures, okay? Normal or comical. So again, you can do more of a caricature type of figure, or sort of more of a simple one, or more realistic. Flowers and petal veiners may be used. If wires are used, these must not be inserted directly into the cake. All right, now, though you're working on a dummy cake, we want to make sure that you're basically adhering to standard competition rules globally. All right, here in the United States, as in the UK and many other countries, we're not allowed to insert a wire directly into a cake. Because from a point of view of sanitation, food health and safety, plus also wires are not stainless steel, so they can go rusty inside a cake if it was a real cake for a customer. So we want to see that you understand how to do this properly. So what we want to do is we want to see you use like a posy pick. You know, there are companies that specifically make little picks that go into cakes, or that use a straw, or the other product is Safety Seal. That is a UK product, and Safety Seal is like a wax that you can actually melt and in the microwave, and then you can dip your sugar flower stems into there. Now, because we wouldn't see that once it's inserted into the cake, it talks about if you are doing Safety Seal, you must just take a photograph of that, print that off, and just put it beside your cake. It doesn't need to be in a frame, but just to show us that you've used Safety Seal, because when we're looking at your cake, we're just going to see the wires going into the cake. Now, if you're using a posy pick or a straw, remember, posy picks, because we're working on a dummy, a cake dummy, it's a lot denser than a real cake. So what we generally recommend is, you know, just make a hole with like a stick or a dowel, and then push the pick in. So the rim of the pick is just visible right at the edge of where the flowers go in, so that when we actually look at that, we can see the top of the pick. Now, straws, because straws are obviously more flexible, they're difficult to push a straw in, like for example, a 3-inch or 4-inch straw. So just make a hole, and then once you make a hole, then just cut the straw to literally about 1 inch long, and just push it in, insert it about 1 inch into the cake, because that way it will still show that you understand the process, but it's going to be easier to push it in. And then we're going to move on to, so it talks about Safety Seal. It must fit within a 14-inch square, okay? So basically what that means is that you'll have a 14-inch. Now, again, in judging, you know, we're going to be using a ruler, so I will be going around just checking that everybody is within the restrictions. So if, for example, your cake board is 15 or 16 inches, it doesn't fit within a 14-inch area, okay? So it's really important your baseboard is 14 inches. Now, there is no height restriction, so you could go 36 inches high, 3 feet high, but as I said, it has to be, the baseboard must be 14 inches, all right? So that's really important. There's no tasting component on this or degustation component on the wedding cake, all right?